Hey guys, this is Aegis, and it's not often that I pick up a 2v2 to cast, but here is one. It was sent to me by someone on YouTube. They just sent me a message with a replay to download. So here it is. We have our Zerg player. Oh, by the way, if you want to send me stuff, you can also send it to aegisstarcraft2 at gmail.com. Anyways, here is Chronicles, the red Zerg player. His ally is going to be VP Insum. I believe this map is. I actually can't. Scorched Haven, there it is. Orz Evo is their enemy, and his ally is going to be Orz U. Chronicles being friendly, saying, hey. Looks like somebody is not making a drone. It looks like we are going to be pausing for a while for Orz Evo. He's going to be 10 pooling. His ally is going to be doing approximately the same. There it is, 10 pooling as well. And Chronicles is telling his ally that he's going to 13 pool, which is relatively safe against the 10 pool, considering that the Zerglings need to get across the map. So Insum is going to go pretty normal here. I'm wondering why he did not wall off with that first supply depot. He should know that those Zerglings are definitely on the way. Orzu is going to be hanging out here with his pool. His allies' pool is a little bit further ahead, and those Zerglings will soon get started. He's also grabbing the gas. He's got 7 drones mining minerals. Overlord now popping out. Barracks now plopping down at the front. We'll be able to close this off shortly. But the Zerglings are now on the way for Orz Evo. Over here, VP Insum is going to be going for some Hellions, as he was saying earlier, so we'll see him do this Hellion build. We have the spawning pool almost finished for Chronicles. So he was going to be able to get out a couple of Zerglings of his own. Looks like these are going to be advancing across the map. It's going to be up to him to hold off all 12 of those Zerglings. He's going to have a queen, hopefully, in just a second coming up. And in a 2v2, normally we might see a Zerg player throw down a Spinecrawler. A couple of Zerglings now advancing across the field. And of course, since he does know he is playing against two Zerg players, he should know to throw down a Spinecrawler, because it's just like playing a 2v2 or a ZVZ, and he just needs to put it here and not there, because it's easier to surround when the Spinecrawler is over there. Looks like he's gonna have to try to micro as best as he can to save those Zerglings. Drones coming off the line as well. Looks like one will be coming over to defend against that those few Zerglings, and he is saying VP Insum is saying everything that's correct, but that's not gonna help his ally right now. It looks like he's gonna be running over here. Hopefully there's gonna be a Marine to save him, but it looks like not all of those drones will be trapped outside, and they will fight a little bit, but looks like there's 2 Marines finally getting to fight a little bit. Chronically saying, let me in. No, but if VP Insum opened that gate, he would have opened his base to his enemy as well. Looks like the queen is out. A couple of Zerglings as well. They should be able to hold this off now. I didn't perp head mast. I have no idea what he's saying. Well, anyways, VP Insum over here with his Tech Lab coming up on the starport will be going for some Banshees shortly. He does have the second gas on the way now, so it looks like this first Banshee will be a cloakless Banshee. Chronicles asking for a loan, and it looks like a couple of those Zerglings are going to be coming in here one more time, and they do not have speed, oh wait, they do have speed, and Orz Evo does not have speed. Looks like he's going to be coming in here. The second Spinecrawler is coming up. Chronicles is going to get killed off here. He needs to die as slowly as possible. He's got 3 drones mining right now. Looks like the Spinecrawler was cancelled. And it looks, he says mutas are soon to be coming. I don't think so. No, there's no way. I do not know why this guy is building a 2 spine crawlers in his base? I have no idea. There's another spine crawler coming up over here. Looks like Chronicles has been cleaned up. His buildings are going to be left to die, and VP Insum is left all alone. We've got a factory coming up, and if he had Cloak on that Banshee, this would be able to do so much damage, as neither of their opponents has anything in terms of detection. They've got no Evo Chamber, not minded for the late game, and no Lair. And we'll also notice that both of these players are about 20-ish, 30-ish supply, and Insum is now up at 42 supply. So this is what always happens if you play a 2v2 and your ally gets killed off. Looks like the expansion is coming up for ORZ.EU, but the Banshee is working away over there. The Banshee needs to get into that main to be able to clean up a queen or two, or something like that. Looks like that hatchery may actually fall to that Banshee if ORZ.EU does not pay attention, which it looks like he is not. I would really wonder what ORZ.EU is looking at. What is he looking at? So I guess he's looking at the Banshee. He's got the hatchery selected. Is he gonna cancel? I guess the Banshee's still working on it. He's still has. Does he have this? Let's see what. Oh, he has that drone selected. Looks like the hatchery was killed off. No mineral salvage from there, and it looks like we're gonna go back to the everyone cam. The expansion coming up for Insum. He's got a pretty small win there, but a win nonetheless. He will be able to expand over here, and he actually does have 4 bases free for his taking. So as a Terran player, it's pretty easy to do something like that, and it looks like he's forced both of these Zerg players to throw up a ton of spine crawlers. I completely disagree with how they did this. They could have gotten a queen, a single spore crawler, so you have 2 queens and a single spore crawler defending against Banshees. Perfect deal. And he's also noticed that no cloak was up, so don't know why they each have 4 spore crawlers. He's also got a mountain of spine crawlers. They'd be really far ahead if they did not build all of those units. Looks like Insum is going to be getting up his units over here. Blue Flame is on the way. First tank is out. Armory coming up as well. And Insum, what he needs to do is hit before both of his opponents surpass him in supply. And that's the key to doing this, but he's actually surging pretty far ahead right now. He's got 54 supply in comparison to his opponents. He needs to keep making those SCVs. Oh, make SCVs! Okay, anyways. I don't know what happened. He needs to make SCVs right away. We got turrets coming up. I don't know. He had his Banshee over here earlier, and knowing that all of these spore crawlers are thrown down, I don't know if throwing down all of these turrets all right now is the best idea. We do have the missile attacks level 1 on the way for our Teal Zerg player, not looking to expand at all. I have no idea what he's doing. He saved up 800 minerals and is throwing down a Hydra Den. Alright, we'll just ignore him. I guess he's just pretty bad. We do have Starport over here, as well as 2 additional factories coming up for Insum. Going to be going for a very heavy mech style. Siege Tech is also finishing up, and Insum does have these 2 bunkers, not much inside of them. Does he have any spawning? Yes, he does. His allies Overlord over here, and Orzo is done, or Evo is done with his Spire now, and should be getting a couple of mutas. There's 7 mutas now on the way. We'll be able to do some harassment, but with those turrets up, as well as the possibility of making Thors, I don't think this muta harassment is going to be the best idea, especially because you guys can be so much further ahead. This ORZ team is not doing very well. I disagree with everything that they're doing. Well, we'll see what our blue Terran player is going to be able to do to help advance here. It looks like he's got a couple more units. All of these structures are now building up these tech labs. We'll be able to get out mass siege tanks as well. And it looks like the mutas are... Where are those mutas? Looks like they're going to be cleaning up the middle of the field to prevent that site. Looks like the spawning pool is about to die for our red Zerg player. And another armory is now on the way. Not much making out of all three of these factories. I guess he made one extra factory. Oh, maybe he has two extra factories. And because he hasn't been making SCVs, we see that his SCV count is actually extremely low. Otherwise, he'd be, might I say, extremely far ahead. Looks like all those mutas are just flying by. Oh no! Losing two of those mutas just by flying by, actually losing three of those mutas now, and one is severely injured. One more shot we would be able to kill that one off. Insum is going to be taking his ally's natural expansion, and over here Orz Yu is going to be throwing up some drones over there. He's mining out in his main, and he's got a mighty Zergling force, but that's not exactly what you want to be getting against this composition. And we do have our purple Zerg player headed out to the third base rather than taking his natural expansion. This is really strange in-game decision making. I really don't understand. And he's getting up some more drones right now. He's also got the infestation pit on the way. He's teching all over the place off of this one base. I have no idea what he's doing. And looks like a couple of these barracks will be floating over here to wall this off a little bit better. Thors and tanks all being made at the same time now. It looks like over here the orbital command is being made, as well as the two additional gas coming up will allow him to mech even harder. We even got map control. I can't believe the Zerg players have let this go on for this long. All of the units are sitting back here. If we look at these guys, they see nothing on the map. The extent of their vision is right here, which I don't understand since they've gone for mutas, and this one spot over there, great, they know they're not taking their third base anytime soon. Good job, purple Zerg player. And it looks like more mutas out on the map, not being very active with those at all. Should be making a couple more Zerglings, as he does have 800 minerals in the bank. He does have a hive on the way. He's finally taking his natural expansion. And Orz Yu finally using up his bank of minerals. And also the Hydra den out, and no Hydras on the map. And of course, against Seashanks, I don't know if you really want to be making Hydras. More Hellions queued up right now. He's throwing up a couple of more turrets right now. I don't think he needs any more turrets. He's got 4 Thors and more on the way. He's got plenty of turrets over here as well, and additional factories on the way for Insum. And he's got this base up and mining. And he's surging way far ahead in terms of tech. Over here, it's Roach Ling at the 17-minute mark, and his ally Orz Evo is going Mutalisk, and he's only got 8 of them. And he's also got a lot of tech, which he can't afford. So it's all great. And oh yeah, there's one spot over there where that Overlord can be scouting, but it looks like Insum is in a great position to win this game, considering what his enemy is doing. Making some corruptors now, should be getting that greater never mind. I don't understand this at all. Where's the greater spire? Alright, where's the greater spire? Where's any hive tech? I don't see a ultra den. Knowing this guy, he'd probably throw it down real soon. He's getting more drones out to be able to saturate his natural expansion, which is something he should have done a long time ago. He's allowed the Terran player to advance across the field completely uncontested. There's even a point defense drone over here, and it looks like the Seashanks sieging up, and the Hellions working away on all of the Zerglings. The Thors blasting all of the Roaches to pieces, and Orz Evo is completely unable to help. And the Corruptors are completely useless. We have a Greater Spire now on the way, but it's not going to be on time. And over here, Insum is going to be able to take out this hatchery as well as this hatchery. The Seashanks are going to be advancing forward. The point defense drone doing great amounts of work. Oh, losing half of the Mutalisks in one shot of that Thor. Looks like the more Roaches coming out over here, but the Seashanks with the point defense drone are doing a great job. Looks like the point defense drone actually does not stop roach shots. And a couple more roaches coming over here. The Thors and the tanks should be able to hold the line for a long period of time, as there are additional tanks on the way. The Thors now making their way up onto the high ground. The Greater Spire is finishing up. The Corruptors are hanging out over here. along with most of the mutas, and Insum is going to need to get some Vikings out onto the field real soon. He has done a great job of actually spending his money, but that's mainly because he doesn't have the SCV saturation or transfer that he needs to have. Let's take a look at the units tab. He's got 61 SCVs, which is okay, but he's not really spending his mule energy either. We've also got the Zerglings hanging out over here. Auto Turret is cleaning up a couple of those units, and it looks like two severely hurt Thors are working away at these drones. They are at 2-2 upgrades, or 2-1 upgrades, and Broodlords are now on the way. And, well, no Vikings on the way yet, so our Terran player is going to be in a little bit of trouble if he doesn't handle this well. And we do have the SCVs finally transferring over to this 4th base. We'll be able to saturate that pretty quickly, also drop a couple of mules, and he's been making a lot of tanks and Thors. He's got this army marching across the field once again. 5 more Thors going to be joining this attack force over here. Looks like 2 Thors will be able to clean up this expansion as well. And the Hellions, Thor's tanks coming over here. The Broodlords are now completed along with a couple of those mutas. And we'll see if the Thors are going to be able to take those guys on. More Broodlords on the way for our purple Zerg player, and additional Roaches sacrificing themselves to the Terran mech over here. Seashanks now sieging up inside of Orzu's main. Looks like he will be losing this shortly. And the point defense drone now taking down all of the Queen's shots. Never actually seen that happen before. Actually, no, that's not the Queen's shots. It's the Spore Caller over here. Looks like the Roaches popping out and will instantaneously get evaporated. There's also a couple of Overlords here getting killed off. These two, this one Thor is cleaning things up over here pretty nicely, and it looks like the Broodlord army is now advancing against this position, and it looks like the Seashanks now forced to unsiege, and the Thor is now actually targeting those Broodlords. More starports on the way for Insum right now. It's essentially down to a 1v1 between blue and purple, and purple is looking mighty strong right now. He's got a ton of Broodlords, but not much else on the ground. And he's going to be able to kill off this pretty expensive Thor army over here. Looks like he not losing too many Broodlords. So over here we are going to be seeing a ton of starports going up. Insum is going to be switching over to Sky Terran mode. He's got this gas over here. He needs to be able to mine it. And actually I think he can use this gas geyser here. And the starports are now complete. We've got Vikings now getting queued up. Looks like it's going to lift to allow the construction of a bunch of reactors. Is our purple Zerg player seriously going to let him build up all of this infrastructure before he attacks across the field? And it looks like he's just going to hang out, so great. It's going to buy our Terran player a lot of time. And over here, Auto Turret cleaning up a couple of these these buildings over here. Looks like the spawning pool may actually die to the single Auto Turret. We'll come back and check on that in just a moment. But our Terran player does have his starports now up with all of the reactors. Still not there's 2 Vikings, but after all of that busy work, there's only 2 Vikings. Line me up, says VP Insum. Looks like he may be trying to do a drop. I don't know. Looks like the spawning pool is going down along with all of these other tech structures. Everything is bleeding to death. He can actually save all of these buildings by uprooting them. They don't take damage if he does that. Looks like he can actually move his Overlords over there as well to protect that. Looks like the Broodlords are now in position along with a ton of Corruptors. Going to be hollowing out the Terran main. A bunch of Thors down here. A little bit afraid to engage this Broodlord army as of the moment. Looks like the Vikings are queued to run straight into the Zerg army, which is not exactly what he needs to do, but that's okay, as he is going to be able to produce them 8 at a time. Looks like the Broodlord's now ranging down on all of those starports. One will be falling shortly, and it looks like the Vikings are going to be close to being able to clean up these Corruptors, but it looks like the Thor's now working away on all of those Corruptors and then taking tons of damage. Those Corruptors falling really quickly. Thor also getting over here. Looks like the Corruptors are taking huge amounts of damage. The Hellions trying to clean up all of the Broodlings as quickly as possible. The Vikings popping out one more time. Looks like the Corruptor's actually just kind of running around. The Thor's running straight into all of those Broodlords. And our Terran player is actually going to be able to power through this with the Thors and the repair going down on the Thors as well. And also the Vikings cleaning up the majority of those Broodlords. It looks like it's going to be Corruptors versus Thors, which is a pretty imbalanced fight there. Not very good micro out of Orz Evo. Not too sure what he was doing there. Just milling around with his Corruptors. Looks like he's going to be able to take a massive damage here from that Thor. Thor does have 10 kills on them, all of them being Broodlords and Corruptors, which is really strange for a Thor. And Orzu is going to be re-expanding over here, rebuilding a spawning pool. He's going to let the rest of his tech die for the moment, as he has decided that it's easier to rebuild all of his tech rather than using an overlord to save them. And it looks like Orz Evo is stabilizing a little bit, but he is banking 2k 2k, or almost 3k 2k. So that's not a good idea, especially against a Terran that is going to be max real soon. Well, another command center is on the way. Now our Terran player has climbed up to 75 SCVs along with that one Raven that's still hanging out over here. It looks like buildings are dying left and right. Roach Warren is going to explode real soon. Going to be left with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! And there are the Broodlings going to be hanging out for just a short while. It looks like the 2 center gold expansions getting taken by VP Insum as well. And his planetary fortress over here taking a good look, getting a good look by this Overlord. And Orzu finally sort of back in this game. He's got 27 supply, doing very well here for himself. And Orz Evo's still not max. I have no idea what he's doing right now. He should have been able to max out like 10 minutes ago. Over here, VP Insum is moving across the field with his pure Hellion Thor Viking army. Going to be able to do massive amounts of damage, as there is absolutely no army over here. Those Blue Flame Hellions can probably take this on all by themselves, as they do have the 3-2 upgrades. The Roaches all getting roasted away. Never thought I'd say that in a Terran versus Zerg. And it looks like the Roaches and the Zerglings all getting cleaned up. More Zerglings going to be joining the fray. A couple of congratulatory Zerglings congratulating VP Insum on his win. And it looks like these few Roaches going to get roasted away once again. And the Thor's doing massive amounts of damage. Our Terran player going up to 5k, 0.4k gas. And he needs to take the gas in the center as soon as possible. He's got 2 orbital commands on the way. Quite bold with the placement of that orbital command, and it looks like Orz Evo is now down and out of his bank. He doesn't have enough to make much else. Maybe get a couple of those infestors, and it looks like Orz Evo has left the game. And it looks like a couple of Roaches are going to be reinforcing over here, going to be running straight into that those Thors, and they fall immediately. And over here, Orzu is trying to make as many Zerglings as he possibly can to deal with this Hellion force. So we do have Insum going to be moving over here, going to be trying to, and it looks like Orzu has left the game as well, knowing that his Zerglings are not going to be enough. And VP Insum doing a pretty good job of 2v1 or 1v2ing his opponents here, because they are bad. I do have a bad history of BMing people and people getting upset, but truthfully they really are. So this is the Aegis signing off.